come here. Yeah, come.
My name is Adrian Medina. I'm your host, and I'm here with Willie Peterkin. This is the man, the myth, the legend. I'm very excited to have him here today. There we go. I'm very excited to have Willie here today. Willie is somebody that I've known for a while. I've known him for a long time, a couple of years, almost a decade. When I turned 20 years old, I'm 28 now.
Wow.
I met you in World Venture Times.
Yes.
It was my first introduction to entrepreneurship. And I noticed over the years that I know Willie as a good person, as a good human being. He's somebody that likes to help other people. Very ambitious, hardworking. He's also somebody that gives more than a lot of times than what others would probably give him. But I also have noticed that I don't know him as well as I know other people, for the simple fact that he's lived a longer life than I have. I'm sure he has a lot of experiences that he doesn't tell many people. And one of the main reasons for a podcast like this is for the simple reason that I would love somebody like Willie to just showcase, maybe give us some insight on his life, on his background, and mainly like the name of the podcast, Jersey Talks, just to give us a little glimpse of his life story here in New Jersey.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm so excited to have him. I'm so excited to have him here. So thank you for coming, man.
No, I appreciate you having me on here. And the first one was on Jersey Talk. So this is a good thing, good experience. So I appreciate it. And I think the words that you said, I definitely appreciate that.
Definitely.
So
yeah, man. Just real quick, like, can you like describe yourself? Like, give us a biography, of a little small bio about you and your life story.
Born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey. Grammar school, public school, number 13. Went to Eastside High School. Famous Lean on Me, Mr. Clark, that was my principal. Went to Berkeley College. Yes.
Seeing Mr. Clark from the movie
Same
Lean on Me?
Yes, that was my principal.
Okay. If you guys never seen that movie, you should definitely look into it. But go ahead.
It's good movie. Actually, be honest with you, the takeaway a little bit for me to bring up him, he made school, like you want to come to school every day. You want to be there. And right now, the reason why I do what I do, because I see the kids don't have that any longer. They don't have the feel or the home experience that once they leave home, they could go to school and still get hurt, but they're learning. And the way I see school now, they basing everybody off of tests.
Yeah.
So they teaching these kids every day about this test. Then when the test comes, they're so frustrated with the test, they don't even pass. But if you teach them about really education, then when they used to do it when I was growing up, we did our math, English, writing, spelling. They took even penmanship out of school. So So these things that I grew up with, we used to have art, music, gym, dance, anything that you name, we used to do in school. So now they took a lot of that out of school because they want to teach these kids about this test. A certain period of the year when I was growing up, they had like maybe 3 or 4 weeks that they'll go over the tests. We used to do SAT, HSPT, CAT, CAT.
Yeah.
We used to go over that during that period of time. It would prepare us for, like, I think June was the time that we would take the test. So people had a better grade level or pass the test versus the way they do it now. So I think if they go back to doing the way they used to do, they always say, don't break the wheel if it ain't broken.
Yeah.
So now going back to me. So yes, Berkeley College, Eastside High School. I grew up with, in the beginning, my mom's my dad. My mom's died at an early age. My dad died when I was at an early age. So I was raised by my aunt. And same thing kind of situation, I kind of raised myself because she worked a lot to provide for me and my brother.
Yeah.
And at the time, my brother wanted to stay over somewhere else. So I was always still on my own. So I got to be in the streets, learn the streets and learn books at the same time. And that's what I would say rounded me out to how I am today.
Cool, man. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Paterson. And this is a funny way of saying it.
Eastside baby from Paterson.
I grew up in Paterson, but at the same time, when you grow up, you have different sections of Paterson.
Yeah.
So you had Spanish section, you had the black section, you had, and back in Paterson, they used to have Italians and so forth. So I always had a niche in every area. So people always say to me now, like, oh, you know everybody. When I was growing up, I wasn't always in these areas. So the one thing was you got to know everybody, so you really didn't get in trouble, because if you go over here, you had no problems. If you went over there, you had no problems, because everybody want to do territory and things. So they want to own blocks that they don't own. So you physically don't own that block. You don't own it, but the way people think back then and even nowadays,
Go ahead.
they look at the lifestyle of, oh, well, this is my block. I'm going to protect this block no matter what. But in reality, it's not your block because you don't own it. So if somebody came in an area that they didn't know, or they didn't, there will always be some type of beef or something. So since I was in all the areas, I could go anywhere and not have a problem. So that was one of the things I taught myself in order to survive.
Did you, so you grew up like on, tell me a little bit about like when you were growing up, like as an adolescent teen. Like I'm guessing you grew up into going into Eastside High School. Like you grew around that area, because now right there it's Park Ave. Like they renamed it to Dominican Republic Way.
Yes.
That's by where Eastside High School is. I go to the boxing gym around there, Ike and Randy's.
Okay.
I go there now, but there's a lot of like Dominican people.
Yes.
Like, mainly is what I see. It's like growing up, was it like that?
Well, growing up, it was more, like I said, there was still a lot of Italians when I grew up in Patterson. So I hate to use white people, but it was more white people there and Italians. So growing up, you saw that.
You got to see all that.
Yes,
that's so cool.
Fortunately, I'm 51 years old. I was born in 1972, so I got to see in the 70s, even with the factories that was here in Patterson. Patterson is known for the silk. That's why I call it Silk City. And they shipped all the factories overseas. So once they did that, it took a lot of jobs from people. So Patterson started getting diverse. The blacks started coming in more. The Puerto Ricans came in. And it's funny because when we was growing up, anybody that was Spanish was Puerto Rican. So if you was Dominican, you was considered Puerto Rican. If you was Mexican, it was Puerto Rican, because that's all people knew, Puerto Rican. And I think in California, everybody was Mexican. Yeah. So if you was out that way, it was Mexican. Over here, it was Puerto Rican. So until you started getting knowing one another, then you understood that it was Puerto Rican, Dominican, Colombian, Peruvian, and so forth and so forth. So, and the funny, you mentioned, so I grew up in the Towers. I grew up in the Towers. I grew up on 23rd and Broadway. I grew up on Manhattan Street. Other places I came in. There's so many that I got. School 12, which is another area like by North Main and Clinton. So each area has their own wards. So I grew up kind of in like, we have 6 wards in the city of Patterson. So I grew up in like 4 out of the 6. And you get to see that diversity as, like I said, now time comes, the more Dominicans are here. Well, actually, there's a lot of nationalities, but the Dominicans has been a big coming into Patterson now. So, but it's still, as long as you do what you got to do and you keep it right, everything should be fine.
Definitely, 100%. So, well, that's really cool, because I'm in Wayne a lot, and a lot of times I see a lot. I know a lot of talented people around this area, and they're always telling me about how Patterson used to be like literally like little Italy or whatever.
Yes.
They still have that little section by Ellison, where they have I believe it's Luca Stella, that statue. So it's really cool that you growing up, you got to see all that, the change in the shift.
And the funny thing you say about that, Wayne, because Totowa area used to be Patterson, Prospect Park was Patterson, Inwood Park was Patterson, Woodland Park was Patterson. So Patterson is the 3rd largest city. Even with those taking those away from Patterson, it's still the 3rd largest city.
Oh, wow.
So Patterson was really, really big, but they started separating themselves because I would say the violence that changed in Patterson, it got bad. So some cities wanted to disconnect with them. So you made Inwood Park. You look at the old maps, they show East Patterson. Prospect Park, you show which Patterson is that. St. Forth is Inwood Park. What else? Woodland Park. So all that was Patterson. So now all those sections are sectioned off. So you got to see the change. Yes.
What was do you remember so? That's like your teenage years. Like, do you remember what your first job was?
Well, first official job, we used to have this thing called PIC. This used to be a summer job. We used to go, you have to wait till you get a certain age to get your paperwork. Work, which is crazy.
What age was it back then? Because now it's 16.
I would say 14.
Wow, yeah.
So
good time.
But my first official job, was at Shoetown, and it's no longer around here. It used to be on Route 4, right? I don't know if people know where Route 4 is at in New Jersey, but if you go out to Route 4, is a Wendy's, and right next to Wendy's is a store complex.
Yeah.
Right there used to be Shoetown. So I used to work there. From Shoetown, I went to Wells Fargo Guard Services. And then from Wells Fargo Services, I moved up to Middletown, New York. I worked direct, at the time it was called Direct Care with the Mentally Disabled Retarded Adults. I know they changed the names now. And then I got into acting and modeling. And from,
how old were you?
Like, we skipping way past, but I'm just giving you the job history. Cause I did all types of jobs. I used to, like I said, certain jobs I did prior to being on a rec. I used to work in a laundromat. I used to work in the cleaners. It was on the table. They used to have this pizza store called Omar's. A friend of mine was working there, but he had hurt his hand, so I covered for him. I used to work there. So many jobs.
Do you remember just growing up, like when you were like still at that age where you were an adolescent teen, going into your 20s, like what you wanted to do with your life? Because like what you wanted to do with your life then, and then what you ended up doing, and did you do it?
Yes. Two things. I always wanted to be a football player.
Okay.
I always wanted to play professional football, so I was real good.
I know you love the 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers, yeah. So my game was, if anybody know the 49ers, I played wide receiver, and so I wanted to be like Jerry Rice, and I also played defensive back, but I also wanted to hit like Ronnie Lott. So growing up, I did that, and then my junior year in high school, I really say I hit like Ronnie Lott, because we used to knock people down and just pound them. So my junior year, my coach came out and said, "Hey, don't go out there hitting these guys like you hit everybody else. They bigger and stronger." And, you know, a kid, what? Don't tell me that. So the score was 12-12. We was getting ready to go into halftime. They threw it to the tight end, coming across the middle. I'm coming up. He probably weighed 190. I had two middle linebackers coming across. They probably together, I would say back then, 200 pounds between the two of them, plus his 190. I weighed 150 all through high school, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So we all hit. I flew that way. They called it temporarily paralysis. So I was paralyzed like I now. It was a short period of time, but, getting the opportunity to go into the hospital. And once I got there, I started getting everything back in the field. I think because I was young, everything kicked back in. But I've noticed over the years that there's still probably nerve damage that they never notice. Because sometimes my body would be a certain way and I don't realize it. Or if I'm playing pickup basketball, and if I would trip or somebody would knock me down for something, when I hit the ground, I could feel a vibration from it from my body, because I think the nerves are still damaged. But again, they never looked into it. They never thought about anything. So I try to go back. That was the game. Then the next week, we had 2 more games left. The next game I couldn't play, but I was forcing myself to get back and play it. So I played my last game, and it just was weird because they had new shoulder pads for me, a new helmet. They had this big, huge donut, so my head wouldn't go back. And it took me away from really playing the game. Like, I was stuck. I couldn't move. So then the next year, football camp came. Went to football camp. I still was feeling good until like right back before we was leaving from camp. We got our first practice. And they had us doing this running drill. But while I was doing this running drill, my arms was like this. Like, I couldn't feel them. And I told the coach, I said, I don't feel my arm. He's like, "Oh, I'll get back in there. You'll be all right. It's nothing." Yeah. So finished out the day. The next day, when it was time to go to practice, to be honest with you, I told them that I had to go to a dentist appointment, but I was really afraid because I didn't know what was going on with my body. So I didn't go to practice. And after that day, I did not go to practice no more. And that was the final thing of my football for what they would call it for a program. But then I moved upstate New York because, like I said, after I graduated, I moved upstate, and I would play football in the streets. And I'm sitting here, I'm playing football in the streets, but I wouldn't finish out. So, things changed.
And you're talking about graduating. You're like in high school still?
Yeah, I was still. Well, remember that was my junior year that I got paralyzed. The senior year, when we came back to play, we went to football camp, and after football camp, I just didn't have it in me no more. I kind of lost the love of football. Then when I moved upstate New York, because we graduated, I moved upstate New York, and football started coming back because I met this guy named Andy. He always was talking about football. He was a 49ers fan. Oh, wow. So it's kind of good, like, somebody's bringing back football to me. So he never seen me play. He always just heard me talk about it. So he used to always brag to his friends, oh, I got this guy that can do this, do that, do that. Finally, one day, I was coming down by the playground, well, the courts that was there, and he already had me on his team. I wasn't coming to play football, so wound up playing, and I played so well that they wanted me to come every week to play with them. And so I did here and there, but then I was thinking about, like, I'm out here playing for nothing where I could have been playing in the college. But I had lost the love. I started getting the love back, so I tried to start getting back in shape to see if I would go do the tryout, but never went and did it. So it was either I was going to do football or I was going to do acting and modeling.
Yeah.
So while I lived in upstate New York, this was going past that teen years, I started pursuing the acting career. The first gig I got, well, besides the movie Lean On Me, that was probably one of the first movies I was in.
Oh, you were in it, actually?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But no speaking roles at the time. But you could see me. There's a lunch scene. You'll see me in that. There's another scene where we're...
Dude, that's so cool. I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah.
I love this.
Yeah,
oh,
so
damn.
There was 2 scenes I was in.
I've watched that movie like 100 times.
But then you didn't know me, so now you see it, you're like, oh, there you go.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I did 2 scenes in there that you'll see me. And then the first job I got, New York Undercover. And that was a big TV show back in the days with Michael D. Lorenzo and Malik Yoba. And I would work every day out there doing extra work. So I wanted to learn how to get to the next level. So we always say this thing that people that you meet will help you more than people that you know. Yeah. So like me and you, we didn't know each other from Adam. Look, you always done things for me. I don't know if y'all know that his dad owns a pizza shop out in Saddlebrook, Midland Ave. And he introduced me to his dad. And to be honest, I feel like we're family now because every time I go there, they treat me with great love. And anytime we do anything, they support, they help. We're going to talk later about my foundation. You guys help out with that. So I definitely appreciate everything you do. And also he does other things that most people probably won't know that he always asks me to be a part of it. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't because I'm getting to a point where I'm not putting myself into everything anymore. I'm staying focused on what God is providing me with and what he wants me to move at. So even with this, I prayed on it before I came in, before I made the decision. Because even though we talked, and I said, yeah, that'd be good. But then I had to go back and say if this is a good idea to do. I did not. So that's where we at.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's so cool. See, stuff like that is good for just people to know in general. Because I mean, you're still doing business. You're still
yes.
You know, so it's just cool to know the background and how you grew up. Mm-hmm. What's it called? But that's cool. Did you continue pursuing acting? Like
yes, let's see, from 94 or 93 to I moved out of 91, 92. I would say 94 to up until probably 2002. I was in I was doing more extra work and not, again, you lose focus on what you do. So I was doing so much work that I forgot what the goal I was there for. I was there more to pursue acting and wound up getting caught into doing a lot of background work. So we was hustling for jobs, calling the casting agents, say, hey, you got work. They would call us. We go to set. We had set like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in New York, get out about 12, 11 o'clock at night to come back and do it again. So from New York Undercover, the Law and Order, the Spin City, I'm naming shows that was holding back, NYPD Blue, Special Victims Unit.
You were in all these?
All of these, yes.
Mainly background acting. Like.
Yes, mainly background acting. And actually, a lot of the episodes that you will see, I always try to get into the camera. I always try to make myself into the camera. So what I started doing was talking to the camera guys, getting to know the crew. So now when you're on set, it's like, oh, let's put Willie right here. You know, let's put Willie there. And then you start seeing, absolutely, relationships. So they started putting me in the areas where they were seen. And then after a while, I got doing so many movies and shows that they started calling me for standing work. And standing work is different from background work and also different from principal work. Principal work is where you speak in front of the camera. Standing work is you standing for the main actor during the time that they're shooting. Mm-hmm. And then once you set up the camera work, the lighting work, like right now, we sitting here, but normally they would have a team here, sit here to do all the lighting. And they'll take them out and put their real team in. So we was called Team 2, they was called Team 1. So I did a lot of that. I worked on a couple of projects for like 13 months. So I was feeling comfortable with that again, losing the sight of what I wanted to do. So then I think in 2002, I want to say 2001, it was a change where I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. It's either I'm going to do principal work, or I'm just going to step away. So I started working at the Cerebral Palsy Center on Main Ave in Clifton. Love those kids there. Everybody has a unique ability. We call it a handicap, but in reality, that's the way they was born. That's how they was. So I looked at them just like if they was just like a regular people. So when I came there, like the kids just, I don't know if it's me, or I always say God has an aura around me. And the kids was just drawn to me. So we used to go in the lunch class. That's where they'd be attendance. Now they'd be all around the area, but when I would come in, they would all crowd around me. So I don't know how the teachers felt about that, but they was like, oh, you know, kids come back to your area. So what I would do is spend time in each class before the classes went to their class, and gave them an opportunity just to be around and talk with. So I had a great time there, but I always knew that I had to have a plan for something. So not doing the football, not doing the acting, I was looking forward to always working in a hospital. I said hospital would be the one job that'll always be here no matter what.
Yeah.
And we look at it as a job, but I was looking at something stable for my life to, you know, always be able to have some, because I've seen jobs fall off, things not work out. But I said, I knew this would be here all the time because everybody's in healthcare, sick, you know, so.
And this was a program that you were working with? Like, how did you get involved with that? Like,
Cerebral Palsy Center in Main Ave Cliff. It's a school.
Mm-hmm.
They have the grammar school on Main Ave, and then if you go further down towards Passaic, they have the high school, and around on Paulison Ave in Clifton, they have the adult center. So I did all three because I worked there. I was a teacher's aide, and also I drove the van. So when the kids they would go on a trip, I would drive them to all their trips from either the grammar school or the adult center and the high school.
Oh,
so
cool.
I was in 3 different schools during that time.
Yeah. Real quick, what's cool
Yes.
that you mentioned that about like having an aura around you, and like so what's it called, in network marketing, in the industry that I met Willie at, and we learn about these 4 personality types, and it's blue, red, green, yellow, and they're all different. The purpose of the personality test, the personality types, is so like it's basically like a sales driven personality test and traits. But one of the main reasons that I was drawn to you so much from the very beginning is that I always used to talk to Gary about certain things, about like who to follow, why to follow certain people, and I used to tell him all the time. I used to say, I look at character when I talk to somebody. It's like how they are with you. Like, are they a good person? Are they going to be a good person when you're not around them?
Yes.
Like, you know, because I think that's a big deal. It's not just about somebody that can like quote unquote lead or just manage or boss you around. It's like somebody who can like be there through thick and thin. Not only that, but like just like somebody who's a good person, right? And you always stood out to me for that reason.
Appreciate that.
That's why I told you when we started the pizzeria, I was like, hey, I always wanted to work with you. I don't know what it was going to be because we were in different teams, but we were in the same team when it came to marketing.
Ventures,
Yeah, but when me and my father started the pizzeria in 2018, and Willie came in, I was like, hey, I always wanted to work with you in something. I don't know what it was going to be, but it had to be something. And that's when you launched the foundation.
Yes.
The foundation, Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops.
Yes.
And the Willie Peterkin Foundation, Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops. And that struck out to me because I'm like, hey, this dude is really what he seemed to be. Like, so I mean, that's cool. You mind just telling us a little bit about your foundations?
Sure, absolutely. Like, so before Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops came along, I was doing food drives, helping wherever I could help out at. I was in other organizations.
Yeah.
I have a friend that has Growing in Grace. He brings awareness to mental health. So I was a part of that. He also had the Bug Foundation. That was a part of that.
Sharif.
Yeah, Sharif. Yeah. So when I was looking into doing something, I went back to school 13, which is my grammar school where I graduated from. And I would go past it every day because I had moved out. I moved to Delaware and I came back in 2009. So when I would go past there, they didn't have no basketball courts. And I was like, wow, like, you know, and I would go every day. They had this old wooden backboard with the inside, the middle was all rusted. So you couldn't even put a rim there. And I went there one day, driving by because I lived down the street from there. And I saw the kid just throwing the ball up there, hitting the backboard. Like, I'm like, wow, that's sad. So then us being a part of World Ventures, I think her name was Michelle. She was doing a basketball court with, I forget the name of it. So we helped out in that. And I said to myself, why am I doing basketball courts for another town when I could do basketball to my city? So me and Sharif, as you stated, we sat down. I said, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to go around putting basketball courts in the areas where I know the kids would be there to play. Not only will they play, they'll have a safe place. They'll take them off the streets. They're not going to be selling drugs. They're not going to be in gangs. They're not going to be fighting. And he was like, well, let's do it. So we sat down. We was joking around with names. Matter of fact, his son actually came up with Rebuilding Dreams to Hoops.
Oh, wow.
So we put that together. That was the program. The foundation is Willie Peterkin Foundation, which is a grassroots organization working to serve the children in our community. And one of the aspects of it is building basketball courts. The other aspect is teaching them what I spoke about earlier, that the kids don't get to do in schools anymore. So we have training classes that will teach them. We have a broadcasting class that's getting ready to come up. I've been having a DJ class sessions, beautician, personal trainer, and a photographer. Those was the 5 things I started with. But then we added more as it goes on because some kids want to learn other things. So we find out the person that's, I want to say a master, but was very skilled at the position or had a certificate. Of course. And we would bring them in and say, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to go about doing it. And usually most courses will be 6 weeks. So it gives the kids the opportunity to learn. I have one kid, I don't like to mention his name, but he picked up the DJ course so fast from the DJ Garcia, which is Moya. He was the teacher at the time. And this kid picked it up, and now he's doing little parties for his friends. So he's making a little money
that's
now.
amazing.
So we talk about entrepreneurship. That's what it goes. So Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops was built through the program. And we did our first basketball courts at School 13. It was awesome. It was great success. Now, prior to building these courts there, the kids I was seeing was the kids from the school when they have their lunch breaks or something. Yeah. But afterwards, there was nobody there. Now, if you go by the courts, it's like 30, 40. Each day is maybe 50, 60. One time I counted, it was 100 kids out there playing. They're not only playing basketball, they brought out their skateboards, they brought out their bikes. The principal put up a box where they could play baseball in the building. Sometimes they play soccer. And then I believe it's Alexandria. I forget the lady's name, but she lost her child. So they go around doing parks and playgrounds in the different areas. So they build a playground in this area as well. So we have the playground now, the basketball courts. So in School 13 now, all the kids are there. But because of the way, and there's violence everywhere, but certain areas where there's violence at, you can't take one group and put them with another group. So there's some kids that try to come up and play basketball because when you put something new, people want to come see it. They feel proud about that area now because they got something new, it's fresh. So I'm trying to build more in the other areas so they don't have to travel over there. So there won't be no fiction between the two, and they'll have their own over there, and they have their own. Then once all those are built, then we'll do a tournament. So I have to put in a resolution for the schools. 2019, like I said, was the first one. 2020 came. We put in a resolution. School 26. They put in like 2. Then guess what happened? The pandemic hit.
COVID happened.
So I looked at it as this was a perfect time to build another basketball courts because you didn't need people out there except for the people that was going to put it out, get it done, and be set. But the school system kind of held back. I don't know what was the reason. I still don't know. But they held back. So now 21, 22, 23, 24, man, what's going on? 23, I had a conversation with them, and they said they'll get back to me. I've learned if you don't get back to them, they're not getting back to you. So if you want to do something, you make that initiative to move forward and make sure it happens. So this year I reached out, went and talked to a couple of people. They made the connection of getting somebody to talk to me. So finally now I spoke to the BA of the board. They put the information in. Last Wednesday we had a meet. And then this Wednesday they're going to vote on it. So instead of me doing a resolution every year for the schools, I said, listen, because we've missed that time, let's put 3 courts in 3 years. And then in 3 years, I'll come back to you with 3 more.
Nice. So
they're supposed to vote on that next Wednesday at the Board of Education. So I look forward to them approving it. And once they do that, we're going to have School 26, School 6, and School 2. So what we're going to do is between the two, besides the donations that we get, we have the T-shirts that we sell called Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops. We do, right now we got...
I remember we had those at Gabby's. We were selling them, man.
We have the autism shirts for April. We have the regular Real Building Dreams, and then now I got baseball jerseys out.
Oh, cool.
So baseball jerseys was from, we started in March, so it's supposed to end in May, but I think I'm going to extend it because I want to have every jerseys during the season of that sport.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what we looking to do. Yes. So not only do we do that, so during the pandemic, we gave out hand sanitizers. I think we had boxes of hand sanitizers.
We had them at Gabbage. Yeah.
Then we had coffee. We did that. I just think last couple of weeks ago they gave us these smoothie drinks. So most companies, they'll come to me and say, hey, listen, we got this. What do you want to do? I said, well, if you can get a truck over to the Amistad Park, which the Bug Foundation and Growing in Grace with Sharif, we renamed the park. It used to be called Triangle Park, but now we renamed it to Amistad. So we do a lot of events there. And then, so what we do is we have the truck come, they unload. We go on live, Instagram live, Facebook live, anything that we go on live, we let people know, and we have the stuff there for them to come and grab. And we set up, and most of the time I stay out there all day until it all goes. And thank God that everybody come out and I don't have to stay out there or leave it for the next day. But so those are a lot of things that we do, book bag drives, turkeys. Well, I'm trying to do something different. I don't want to always do, because everybody do turkeys, everybody do book bags. So I'm just trying to do something different. So yesterday we did a freestyle show, which is freestyle music. It was big in the early 80s, late 90s, and then it kind of disappeared for a while, and then it's starting to come back. And I love freestyle music. So we had a show yesterday in Garfield at the Wild Rose. I had a young lady, amazing lady, I call them legends, C-Bank. We had AB, which is from an original group called TKA. He's on his own now. Okay. And then we have another gentleman that he's a legend named Suave. So they came out and they did a great show for me. People came out in support. We made some good money. So that money will be used towards building the next basketball court. So once they give us the approval, we set to do the court.
That was actually my next question. Like, how does like a foundation or somebody like a regular person like you,
yes,
you know, because you're just a regular person with above average work ethic, honestly. Like, how does somebody like you raise all this money or come up with the money that, you know, like, what is it like?
Well, part of it is, like I said, I started raising money.
Or how can somebody just like out there like wanting to help out or start a foundation do it?
So what we do, we have a Cash App called Peterkin Foundation. Last name is Peterkin Foundation. We have a website. It's Willie Peterkin Foundation. Once you see Willie Peterkin Foundation, you hit the https:// Rebuilding Dreams to Hoops. That'll bring you to the website. And then, of course, I always give out my number. I don't have no problem calling me. It's 862-600-1883. Everything is connected to my name, so nobody could get confused. My Yahoo account is williepeterkin@yahoo.com, and I spell Willie Willie because most people spell it with a Y. So sometimes I have to let them know. And I'm always out on Instagram, Facebook. Instagram is the same thing, Willie Peterkin. Facebook is Willie Peterkin. So anything that you want to get me, you're going to get my name. And even if you go on Google and you put Willie Peterkin, you'll see all the events that we do. All the pictures of everybody wearing the shirts. Actually, I should have wore a shirt today, but I was at church this morning.
It's okay, yeah.
You know,
you're looking fresh.
Yes. So that's one of the keys that we do. Like I said, we sell shirts, we sell hats, we do raffles, we do. I was actually just talking to a gentleman on the phone before I got here, and they want to actually do a raffle / I forget what he was going to call it, but we're supposed to sit down, iron it out so we could do a big raffle. Because I was telling him about the next couple of courts we want to do. And he's like, oh, listen, I want to be a part of it. I want to help. So a lot of times people come to me. I met a couple of guys last night at the show that I didn't know. They say, hey, listen, send a letter. They gave me their card, send a letter to my company. We want to give you a donation. Accurate Box in Patterson, New Jersey gave me a $5,000 donation 2 years ago. So I still have that money for a court. And I didn't know at the time, because it's funny, because I used to work at Accurate Box. So I ain't mentioned all the jobs. I used to work there doing security at night.
Yeah.
And it's a woman-owned company, all woman-owned. And one of the young ladies went to school with me. She's seen what I've been doing and she wanted to help out. And they give scholarships, or they give money away every year to different organizations. So her organization was mine. So they chose me and they gave me $5,000.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So,
all I hear is networking. There's something we learned. I learned during my first couple years of entrepreneurship is like everybody anything you need, a stranger has it.
Yes.
You know, so there's another thing called the 6 degrees of separation.
Yes.
Like you can meet anybody in this world through like 6 contacts that you have currently on your phone. Like you can meet the president, anybody at all, like through those 6 contacts, like because they know somebody that knows somebody that knows
Yes.
somebody, and it's really cool because what you're telling me is how you can like raise money for your foundation is like just by meeting people, knowing people, and like past people also. It's really cool. But I feel like the biggest thing is just to always remain solid because like you need to be a good person for people to be able to trust you.
Yes, that's true.
You know, so that's really cool.
And actually, you mentioned, and I think we should go back to it. At his dad's pizza shop, we bought a shirt with a coupon for you to get 2 slices of pizza and a canned soda, or you can have water if you want. So we did that. We had a few sales, but I think at that time it wasn't pushed like it should have been. I think because even afterwards we was done, people was like, "Hey, what's that deal?" I'm like, "Oh, it's over with now." Like, you know, it was there, and it seemed like people catch on afterwards.
Do you still have shirts? Like, you still make merch?
I make just like he do. He's an entrepreneur. He makes shirts. I make shirts. Yeah. We make. I make all my Rebuild the Dream hoop shirts, and even sometimes we add certain things on it. Like yesterday, how you guys see it is this gold one that was made. Even with the ball was gold because normally I do all the balls with orange. And the way we made it yesterday was everything was gold.
Oh, that's
nice. And people was like at the show, they was like, "Hey, I want that shirt."
My dad still wears a shirt.
Yeah,
he makes pizza.
Every time I go, he has
shirt.
it on. Yes, matter of fact, I got a hood for him.
Okay.
So I gotta make sure I get that over.
And we gotta talk to my dad then.
Yes.
Maybe we can bring that back. You know,
that'd be cool. Do. Absolutely.
We get a reach, and that'd be amazing, honestly.
Yes. We actually got to well, we'll talk about this offside, but we got to do something, bring you guys over to Patterson so more people come out. Because a few people do come out there and they tell me, "Oh man, I like that spot. I love the food there." And you guys make it like a
thin crust.
Well, no, not just the atmosphere is like homely. Like you could come there and relax, and you have the TV up. Now you got all the new screens. I love that. And so, and you have a good conversation because your dad always talks to me, and even the new guy, I don't know his name, but he talks to me a lot now too. And it's like it's a good environment to be around.
Yeah. What's it called?
So I know you get your jeans from.
Yeah.
Well, you get it both because your mom's an entrepreneur too. She writes books, which we have one here. That ain't her book though.
That's Gary Keller's book. Well, yeah, my mom's a recently published author. She has a book with a bunch of other stylists. You should get that.
That's we can be interviewing each other.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. What's it called? No, yeah, that's cool. What was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought.
Fundraiser we was talking about. You want something again with your dad? Yeah,
at the. What's it called? No, yeah, basically about the special. We should definitely do something with the pizzeria.
Absolutely.
So that'd be cool. I got to talk to my dad.
No problem.
But that's super interesting, man. And so
I don't want to come off, but his dad be like, "Hey, whatever y'all want to do." I get saying that now.
He's like, "Yeah, I talked to Adrian. Whatever." Yeah. No, he's always down to help. Like, especially with my friends, he's always willing to help.
Yes.
Oh, this is what I was gonna say. So we have before we didn't deliver to Patterson or nearby other towns like that. Certain mile radius. We have DoorDash now, so
if
anybody wants to order, that's helpful also.
Yes, I don't have DoorDash though.
Yeah, like so it's funny you say that. Not to bring this up, but you said you're a little older. It's like everybo's on their phone nowadays. Like get the younger crowd.
No, I'm on my phone. I just DoorDash.
Dude, even till now, I always feel like Willie's just like I don't know. He's just like not. He's just so young every time I talk to him. He's so youthful. And
the other thing is, I'll be honest with you, I don't do DoorDash. Like sometimes I want delivery because of what's going on at the house. But a lot of times I go because I want to go see your dad. I want to go have a conversation with him, and I enjoy talking to him because, like he's saying, I'm young, but his dad is young too. Like great at heart and just so amazing. And you can tell where the energy comes from. You know, on both sides. You know, because I got to meet the moms too and understand where your mom's at on certain levels and when your dad is on certain levels, so we can see that in you.
Yeah. I really want to ask you a question because I'm interested about like just like personal development and growth and how everything you're doing was it like influenced growing up. Did you have like a big influence, like maybe a person or maybe a book you read?
Well, I read a lot of books. One of the first books I actually read was Think and Grow Rich.
How old are you?
Napoleon Hill. Right now I'm 51.
No, when you
when I read that book, oh God. The funny thing about it was, I think it was 1990, so I was still in high school. So I was probably like 16, 17. But the only reason, to be honest with you, the only reason why I read that book at the time because back then, Prime America
Oh, okay.
Another entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Someone brought me in, and it didn't work out the first time, and then turn around, someone else brought me in, like, and you know, I hate to say it, but we do these tricks. Hey, listen, I want you to come over and have, you know, let's hang out and talk or something. Then you wind up at this event telling you, let's do this, do this. So I've learned the game now, like, all right, don't set me up anymore.
I know.
Because everything works. I think there's a time and a place for everybody to be in a certain place. Like I remember you was doing, and I know you probably still doing it with the stocks trading. I was trying to learn it, but it wasn't for me. Yeah. So I know people can make good money and some people can lose money. And I felt still it wasn't for me, even though I saw you doing good and wanted to be a part of it because you was a part of it. But I just couldn't see myself going out again because, again, for Prime America, I think I've been there 4 times. Yeah. I had a short-term mortgage loan. Then I went to other projects. I think the best one that I had, and because I love to travel, was World Ventures. We got to travel. I met a lot of great people like you, yourself, Gary, Suheni. I love Suheni. We talk all the time. Matter of fact, while I was at the show yesterday, she called. So I got to meet a lot of people. Like you said, going back to what we talked about is relationships. So you build these relationships with certain people, and if you leave a big impact on them, they will always say, hey, I could use that guy. I could talk to him, or I want to help him. Like, so Henny just gave me a whole bunch of clothes because she know I donate clothes. Okay. So anytime she have clothes to give, she comes to me. And she don't try to convince me to get, because she's still with, well, we're at World Ventures, and I think it's Secret. Yeah, she's in the So she's still in it. But she don't say, hey, Will, because actually she was the one who brought me in the first place with World Ventures. Yeah, I remember. And she doesn't push it. And that's what I like about her, because she don't come, and you did it too. You didn't push me. You didn't push me. You know, I watched a couple of events that you did, but I just felt it wasn't me anymore. I'm more focused on the foundation. Now I have grandkids, so I'm focused on them. I love them.
Congrats again.
Yes. So my influence, as what you brought up earlier, was, be honest with you, in the beginning, it was me. Like I said, my mother died early. My dad died early. I was always running out in the street because my aunt worked at night. She worked at the bank from 12 to whatever, and then she had a second job. So I was always on my own. So I was afraid to stay in the house, you know, because when I was in the house, you always hear these creepy noise. I used to say the house is old. I hear these noises. I didn't want to be in the house at that time. So I was more afraid to be in the house than I was outside, because at that time growing up, what's going on now wasn't happening then. So I do these 2 guys, and they would say, like, wow, anything could have happened to me at the time. But I used to hang out with these guys late at night. They would talk. They would be up, just talking. And I've learned a lot and listened a lot at that time in my life. And
they were a little older than you?
Way older than me. That's why I said, you know, nowadays people look at like a child with 2 men in the house, like something could have happened. But thank God, God was always on my side. He never put me in a position where I could have got hurt or somebody could have took advantage of me in that way. So
they kind of like, what's that word? They like for me, Gary, when I met him, I would just be with him until like 4 or 5 a.m. sometimes just talking. Yeah. He would, what's that word? What's that saying? He would just speak and I would just listen. Yeah. Like, that's kind of what it was for you, right? Like,
yeah, well, yeah, because at the same time, no, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know what they were talking about because I don't remember now, but I was safe. Yeah. I wasn't in my house being afraid. I was somewhere else, and I was with these guys. And even though they was just talking, I knew I was in a safe place. And after we finished talking, I could go home, get home probably about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I knew my aunt was coming. So once she came in, I was already there. And then she would wake me up anyway, and we walked to Madison Diner, where right now is on Madison and Getty. There used to be a diner there.
That's the beautiful thing about New Jersey. The diners, yeah.
Yeah, oh we used to go to the diner in the morning, get breakfast, come home, eat, go to breakfast, and go back to sleep. So, and saying that part is, I work overnights. Yeah. So, because I don't sleep. I never slept I always was up at night. So everybody said, oh, that don't bother you. I'm so used to it because it was in a child mindset that at night I was always up. So it was hard to get up in the morning because I was always wanting to be up at night, and I would fall asleep like 6 or 7 o'clock.
Just so you know, he's a volunteer firefighter.
Oh, no, yeah. I thought you were going to say so. Go ahead.
I don't know what it was.
Well, I'll correct him. And I don't tell many people this. I'm actually a 911 dispatcher for the fire department and the police department. Okay, yeah. And the reason why I don't tell everybody, because people that I know, be calling me instead of calling 911.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So
I know what you're saying.
I usually try to keep that, and it's funny because, not funny, there's a fire that happened next door to my house the other day, and I had actually called out because I probably ate something that wasn't right with me. So I was laying in bed, and I see the lights and I hear the trucks. I'm thinking they're going past, not thinking it's around my house. The first thing I think when I see lights, like, all right, my house, all right, So they go by, and then I see them again. I'm like, something's going on. So I get dressed, I look outside, and they're in front of my house. I'm like, oh my God, my house is on fire. So come to find out, is 2 doors down from me, the house is on fire. And they was telling me they was calling 911, and I was like, man, I felt bad because I should have been the one to answer the phone, because I'm the type of person that when I do something, I want to be on top of it. So as soon as that phone ring, I'm picking it up at the job. I want to make sure everybody's all right. It's quick, because I think the quicker I move, because we're the first responder, we're the first contact of an emergency situation for the police or the fire department. So the next day, my chief was out there, and he was talking to them, and he introduced me as, the 911 dispatch and stuff forth. And it's like, oh, do you want to talk? And I said, no. Because again, and so later on, they had, last week was Dispatchers Appreciation Week, and they had a dinner for us on Friday. So I went to talk to him. I said, hey, listen, it's nothing about, I just didn't want, and since you already brought it up, because I didn't want to confuse people saying I was a volunteer firefighter, because I would never want to take anything from them. I'm not a volunteer firefighter, but I'm in an organization with the firefighters called Bronze Heat.
Okay, cool.
And they're African American association that build a group of men and women that go out and do things for the community. So they do cookouts for the community, they do food drives for the community. Anything the community needs, they out there. So I'm a part of the organization. I'm actually a part of, I think, 6 different organizations along with my own organization. So I just wanted to fix that up a little bit.
Big Yellow. That's one of the personality types. That's really cool, man.
Big Yellow.
Yeah. Who would you say has been the most influential person in your life, and why?
Most influential person in my life would be my aunt. She basically raised me and my brother.
Yeah.
She was always working. I also have a couple of teachers that was in grammar school, Miss Harlack, Mr. Anderson. Matter of fact, my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Anderson, he was so influential. He was so influential with me that to this day, he still supports me in everything I do.
Oh, that's cool.
So if I got a new shirt out, he buys a new shirt.
I love teachers.
We have an international men's breakfast that we do every November.
Mm-hmm. I attended it this 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes. So actually, he attended, but his dad was recognized. So
won an award. Yeah.
Yes. So he comes out to those in support. He's always there to support me, and it's like, man, I haven't been to school and I can't even think of how long it was. But I graduated in 1987 for grammar school. So just imagine 1987 to now. Matter of fact, he sent me a picture of the first 8th grade class for our school, public school number 13. And he has this fro, and I was busting his chops with. He's like, oh, no, be careful. But I'll show you later. But yeah.
Okay.
So he was one of the influential persons in my life.
I love that. Teachers, shout out to all the teachers that do an amazing job and help out people. What's if you could go back to your younger self, you could pick an age. What would you say to yourself? Now knowing how your life is now.
Stick to your goals, stick to your dreams, stick to what you want to do. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. If you want to do something, do it.
I love that. Do you have, I don't know if I would call it a morning routine because you're always up late. But do you have something similar to that, maybe?
Morning.
Or afternoon routine?
Okay, so to help him with that, I go to work at 10:30 at night. I get out 6:30 in the morning. 6:30, after I get out, I go to the gym. I work out for at least an hour, and I come home, take a shower, relax before I fall asleep, and then I wake up. I don't sleep much, so I wake up about 12, 1, sometimes 2 if it's a good day.
Oh, man.
And then I go about trying to figure out how to, as you say, help somebody that day. What can I do to better my organization, or who I can move forward to help them?
You think about that?
Yeah.
Everything?
Yeah. I always want to help because we didn't really get into my mom's situation, but we'll come back to that and I'll explain to you why. But I look forward to trying to help out who I can help out or how to get more money for the foundation so I can finish this process or that process and how to teach these kids that we didn't get taught. Because I think financial literacy in grammar school should be starting.
Yeah.
I think, how to use a credit card, how to use a bank account, how to balance your checkbook. Those are the things that we should be learning in school, because I once saw this thing. They said school is just a tool to keep you as an employee.
Yeah.
And if we don't change that, everybody's going to be an employee. Now look what they're trying to do. If you don't have your own business or your own entrepreneurship, you go to Walmart, they have all these, what they call self-service cashiers. So I was in Five Below the other day, and the young girl was there. She said, "You need help?" I said, "Yeah, I want to come to you." She said, "But you can use this machine as a free checkout." I said, "Yeah, but that takes away a job from you." She didn't understand it. She said, "I'm going to help you." And sometimes I would sit there and tell them, "Listen, that's not what I mean. This is what I mean."
Yeah.
Because they don't realize that the more we use these machines, the less employees they're going to have at the shop. And people don't look at it that way. They think that, oh, this is good to have. No, it's not, because they're just setting you up to being on a job. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to have more homeless people in the streets. We're going to have more people out that they don't have jobs because they can't afford their family, because all these technology is taken away from. So the more we use this technology on certain aspects, you don't have humans doing those anymore. So we lose that. So I like to interact with people and tell them, "Hey, listen, I'd rather come to you.
Yeah.
I want to see that person's face. I want to have, if you make an error, we do it together.
Yeah.
But if you make an error on a machine, now guess what? You got to wait till somebody to come and fix it now. Say nobody's around that machine because they letting these things run on their own. You got to wait till somebody come all the way over there. Now you're taking time. My time is very, very valuable."
Yeah.
So I look at that in a way of like, let's not take my time. So I'd rather deal with the person, and I'm helping that person keep a job.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. You I see that you like to I mean, you mentioned your mom. You said I think what I'm hearing, what I'm understanding is that a big reason why you like to help others are just like what you said also about like every day you're like, how can I help somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about like your mom's passing that like?
Well, it wasn't just her passing. My mom's was on drugs. When me and my brother, we were, like I said, I lived all over because my mom would leave us here, she would leave us there, she would leave us there. So we used to stay in this one house where they wouldn't let us go out. So we used to play this game where we sit in the window saying, "That's my car, that's my car, that's my car." But after a while, you can't do so much of that. My brother said, "Hey, listen, we can't do this anymore. Let's go." So we packed our stuff and we left. We wound up going to one of my aunt's house, and she sent me to another aunt, which was the aunt that basically raised me. My mother came and got us. Same thing, we go back and forth. Then finally, this one time that she came and got us, and we all lived together, and she was dating this guy at the time named Bobby. He used to, I don't know if y'all know, there's a Wonder Bread used to be in Patterson. So he used to work at the Wonder Bread.
Oh, Wonder Bread.
Yeah, so
factory, Wonder Bread.
Yeah,
factory. Oh,
yes.
Cool. Wow.
So we used to live right around the corner from where he used to work. And one day she was straight, she wasn't taking drugs, she wasn't out drinking. And they had a big argument. We was all in the car. This was Halloween. That's why I remember it so well. It was Halloween night. We was on our way back home. She jumped out of the car and left. And we was living with this man and not knowing where my mom's was at. And maybe like a month later, I guess he got to a point where he was just tired. So he packed our stuff up and took us to my uncle's house I said I lived in the Towers. So we went to the Towers, we stayed there. And that's when they told us my mom was in the hospital. So I'm 51. Now imagine I say 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, because my brother's 4 years older than me, raising a woman. Because when she went out, they used to tell us back then she got poisoned. I think I personally felt in my heart that she got into some drugs that she was taking, and it messed up because she stopped taking drugs, and now it hit her. And so it put her in this, I want to say coma state, because the fact that she lost her speech, she lost her sight, her body function, everything she lost. And they kept her there for maybe like a year or two. And finally, we was living with my uncle at the time, and we had this habit of breaking stuff. So there's a table, say like this table, but this was on the side here.
Yeah.
And about this big chunk was taken out of the table. So my uncle told her, "Listen, one more thing that breaks, I gotta go." So I didn't know. My brother broke it and he glued it back. So at the bottom, I don't know how he noticed it, but it was at the bottom and he glued it back on. And so he called us in the house, and he traced the piece that we broke on a piece of paper. And he's like, he packed our stuff up and he took us to my aunt's. So we sitting at my aunt's house with this drawn up paper, said he couldn't take it anymore. He had this thing. And so my aunt took us in and we stayed with her ever since. And then like maybe 3 or 4 years while being there, my mom's came out the hospital. Now, again, she's in this position where they had a nurse for her, but when the nurse wasn't there, we had to take care of her. So some of the things that, again, not only a kid, but a male kid, you don't do certain things you do, especially your mom's and a woman at that help take care of her. So I don't want to get in details, but we had to do that for a course of 10 years. And then
you grew up pretty quick.
Yes. So not only learning that and seeing that, but that started the helping nature, showing me that I have to help. I have to do this. I have to do that. So I don't know if I would have had that if this wouldn't have happened to her. So now she's walking around in a walker now. She's starting to get her sight back, her speech back a little bit. Her and my brother decide that they want to move. I didn't want to go. I'm like, I'm stable. I'm tired of moving here and there and there. So I wanted to stay where I was at. So they moved down to Triangle Village, which is in Patterson, off of Patterson Street by the college. And that's when I started working at Shoe Town. No. So I'm working at Shoe Town, and my mom's went to the hospital. And I was working late, and I said, once I get out, I'll go straight to the hospital. When I got home, they wouldn't allow me inside the hospital because it was closed already. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to go to my house. I'm going to go to her house. So when I leave, when I get up in the morning, I know go straight to the hospital. So we got a call like, I want to say 5:34 in the morning. And I think the hospitals at this time, they don't have empathy. They don't know how to talk to people on the phone. So when they called, they said her name. Her name was Diane Peterkin. They said Diane Peterkin expired. I'm like, what? What the hell? What are you talking about?
That's how they said it?
Yeah. Right. So then it hit me. So my brother was in the other room. I knocked on the door. I told him, now, I don't know what's the distance from the college to my house, but it's got to be at least 25 blocks. First of all, we crying, running. We ran all the way to where I live at now. And we knocked on the door. We told my aunt, and we all sat there and just cried. So, you know, I knew at the time that as a young kid that I got to do something better and have something in my life to make my mother proud. Mm-hmm. Like even with I love birthdays. I know you see on my Facebook 11/11 all the time, 11/11. So my birthday is 11/11. My mother's birthday was 8/8. So people say, why you love birthdays so much? I said, because I'm not only celebrating for myself, I'm celebrating for my parents. Mm. They're not here to celebrate, so I'm here to celebrate for all of us. So anytime a birthday comes, I love other people's birthday because a lot of people don't understand the impact of it.
I like that.
You know, it's their anniversary, but it's your birthday.
Yeah, so, I love that. My mom taught us from very early that it's important to celebrate your birthday. My dad, growing up, he never celebrated his birthday. No, as a kid, never ever. Like his parents didn't celebrate it. It was just like, oh, you know. Yeah. His parents were a lot tougher on him, and a lot more like I would say a little colder. Now that over the years I talked to his family, I get to know how they were. They're awesome people, but yeah, they were a little colder to him. Yeah. But the first birthday where my dad was sung to had a birthday cake, and there was people there to celebrate, aside from his mother or his father. Mm-hmm. Was when my dad first came to the country with my mom, and my mom's family, because my dad has no family here from the very beginning. Okay. It's all my mom's family here in the States. But my dad was probably 18. I had just been born for a couple months, and my dad's turning 19 or 18. I forgot what it was. And my dad, I remember my mom tells me, they all tell me the story, all my aunts. And my dad actually like started like shedding a tear and stuff, like because like he's like supposed to be like this macho dude, whatever, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, "What the hell?" And it was the first time he ever got a birthday cake. Oh wow! So and my mom was just like hysterically crying because that's good, you know how it is. But it's important to celebrate birthdays. Yes. Even like me, like when I was a little older, after like 17, 18, 19, 20, I didn't like celebrate my birthday. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's like, you know, it's It's just not a big deal.
Another
But
year.
I realize, it is a big deal. It's important to
Yes.
celebrate your birthday
Yes.
every single year. You only turn that age once every single
Not
year.
only that, like you just said with your dad, I didn't get birthday parties.
Mhm.
They used to have this place called, was it Bakery? It's Valentine's and Summers on Washington Street. I used to always go buy my own cake.
Oh, wow.
And I would have my own cake at the house.
Uh,
So when you get older and then somebody else celebrates it with you, like, no, I don't care who's around. I'm either gonna make every time my birthday comes, I usually take a trip. And on my 50th, I went to California, which was my dream to do that. And so part of me growing older too, I do the things that I couldn't do when I was younger. I travel a lot. I go anywhere I want to go. Of course, we traveled a lot. That's why, again, World Ventures was meant for me during that time. I think each time there's a time in your life to do certain things, and there's a time in your life to move on. We had that time with them, and we moved on. Yeah. But the only thing that I took from that was I still travel.
Yeah, traveling is important.
I still travel. So I think you need that in life because a lot of people, they say we travel less than anybody in the world.
Americans?
Yes, we travel less than anybody in the world, and that's sad because if they check my book, I'm gone all the time. So yes,
I love that. Willie, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear? Ooh, I don't think I have any anymore.
Freezing to death.
I don't have. Nah.
It's cold.
I don't have fear of dying because I know we're created to live, to do a purpose, to move on, and then to pass on. So that's actually, you know what? My fear is being paralyzed, being a cabbage. That's my burden is on somebody else because I'm so used to doing stuff for other people. I don't want somebody sitting, wasting. I won't say wasting any time, but their time is worried about my life or how I got to move or how I got to do it. I wouldn't want to be sitting somewhere that I can't do nothing. I'm always on the move. So for me to be stuck in a place that I can't move, that would fear me.
That is scary.
Yeah. And since I had the experience already, a part of it, I know I don't want to go there again.
What, maybe if you could just make this a little more clear, what makes you passionate and gets you motivated?
Be honest with you, when I open my eyes in the morning, I thank God. And that's the start of the passion right there because he gave me another life to do the things that he's called me to do and the things that, I'm in line with him, that I pray that I'm in line with him to do the things that I'm doing. And that's the most important part of what I do. I always give back every time a chance. Like even somebody call me right now and they probably have my phone probably going off a few times saying, hey, what's the next step? Like, give you an example. So we was at church today. I'll make this quick because I know we've been out here long. I've been wanting to teach people how to use a weapon. Didn't know how about going about it. And I drive past the range all the time, not realizing until yesterday that was the range. And this is the way God works. If people, and I'm going to give you guys, because people say, oh, God does this, God does this. I'll show you how it works. So I've been wanting to do this. I've been driving past, I think it's McBride Ave by the car wash. There's a gun range there. And I pass by it all the time. Mm-hmm. Yesterday when I drove past it, I was like, oh, that's the gun range. So now I've been having this thing that I want to do with people, teaching them how to shoot, because now, don't get me wrong.
I think it's important.
Well, no, this part, don't get me wrong, because I always say, right now, these guys out here got guns and they shooting up everybody.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay.
I want to teach them how to shoot. And I hate to say this or put this in a way because when they shoot, they spring. If you're going to shoot somebody, learn how to shoot so you can shoot that person, not shoot all these innocent people. Or even if that person innocent, I don't want you shooting everybody else and you don't hit the person you want to hit. Or just to know how to shoot because now you ain't hurting innocent people. So I want to educate people on how to shoot and what the weapon is used for because it's not always used for hitting each other. You can do millions of things with weapons and sometimes we use it for the wrong way. So seeing that place that day was like, man, okay. And then I go to church today and the guy says, oh, listen, I want to talk to you. I want to teach people how to use a gun, use a weapon, know the history. So I grabbed a friend of mine because I was the person I was talking to about it. I grabbed him. I said, listen to this. And so they started listening and they looked at me and was like, wow. So that shows you, like I said, God works because I've been thinking of this. I didn't look at the gun range until yesterday, and the guy came to me today about doing something with it. So, he aligned us with the right people, and they have this thing now, being in the right room with the right people, having the right conversation.
Yeah.
And then you get a revelation from that. So I'm trying to always put myself in the right room with the right people and the right conversation, because I think we was talking earlier. I was talking to somebody saying how I try to keep myself away from the negative talk. Anything that don't move us forward or help us move down the line, we shouldn't be involved with.
Yeah.
We was talking about, because this is New Jersey Talk, and we have other what do you call it, blogs or talk shows.
Podcasts.
A lot of these shows are stuff that's on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. It's a lot of negativity. So if you filled yourself in with that, guess what's going to come out of you? That negativity. So if you put yourself with all positive energy and all the positive feed, then that's what's going to come out of you.
Yeah. It's literally Think and Grow Rich. It's like what you put yourself is like what comes out.
Look how you brought that back up.
Yeah. No, because it's true. It's like, it's cool that was your first book that you read, because I mean, I feel like I believe in nurture and nurtured, but it's like, I mean, what happened with you and like kind of just evolved your personality and everything, like you giving back, and also the book Think and Grow Rich, and just like everything, like you're talking about being positive. Yeah, it's important, like I mean, you have just years of like being wise and stuff, and like it's experience though. It's experience though, like things you've gone through. So like I like that, you're out here now casting it to everybody else. Yeah. So shout out to you for like just like everything you're doing in your life, everything that you're doing for others. Is there anything like you could like anything you want to give out, like anything we want to like let people know before like we wrap this up, like anything of value, like what else is on your mind?
Everything that I deal with is about the foundation. So again, it's Willie Peterkin Foundation. Rebuilding Dreams Through Hoops is one of the programs. Rebuilding Dreams Beyond Hoops is the other program. Plus, I'm in Growing in Grace, which brings awareness to mental health. I'm in Piffy, which we give scholarships out to students that's getting ready to go from high school to college. I was in Ceasefire. I stepped away for that for a while because you can't be in everything.
And what's the hashtag again for Willie Peterkin?
Hashtag is dollar symbol.
The Cashapp
is $ Peterkin Foundation. Once you go onto the website, which is Peterkin Foundation, you'll see all the different, because be honest with you, off the top of my head,
I'll have the links here.
Yeah, I don't have the Venmo. I don't have all that other stuff, but it is on there. If you need anything that you want to know more information, again, you can reach out to me. We got brochures that we give out. And we always out and about giving. Right now we're doing a Soup for Success drive at PCC, the college. Nice. I think that's the 25th. Now this is live, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the 23rd will be at McDonald's on, what's that, Route 20 by 5th Ave?
Oh, okay.
We're doing a fundraiser there. So anybody that comes out and gets, I think it's from 5 to 8, you come out and get a meal from there. Not only if you have kids, you could bring them. We'll have a Mickey Mouse, and the percentage from that time will go to Growing in Grace and Willie Peterkin Foundation to build on top of that.
And that's the one right next to that dispensary, right?
Yes, dispensary.
American Thrift Shop, McDonald's is there, and Home Depot is right next to it also. Yes. So anybody here in Jersey, Patterson, around this area, definitely stop by, like what Willie's saying.
Absolutely.
All right. Willie, I have one last closing question for you.
No doubt.
Okay. You mentioned books, and I love books. I love reading books. The first book I ever read is when I was 19 years old. After high school, like front to back. I read books but I never finished them in high school because I was never interested in them.
Yeah.
I didn't like the stuff they taught me. I didn't like the stuff that I was reading about or the people I was reading about.
Okay.
When I was 19, after trade school, after Lincoln Tech, I graduated, and then I was like, I want to learn and feed my mind. And I went to the library. I went to Barnes and Noble. And one of the books that stood out to me was Malcolm X book. It's the autobiography.
Alexander Hamilton.
And it's the first book I read front to back, and I was just like, whoa, this is so different, because I'm not black or nothing. I'm not African American, but it was just different as to everything that I was reading in high school. And I remember my history teachers, and I was just like, a lot of the stuff that they were telling me, and I'm just like, it was very negative in a way.
Yeah.
well, maybe not negative towards themselves, but it was a little negative towards me, right? And I remember reading this book, and then that's when I was like, you know what? I kind of want to help people. I want to become a teacher, because in my head I was like, if I could teach people, I wanted to become a history teacher, and I was like, if I could teach people about the history that they've gone through, you know, like, yeah, like, yes, like Black people and African American people, but also like that's when I started reading books on history. And I started reading books on like Mexican American whole culture and like the Civil War here in the U.S. And I started reading so many books on history. And then I was like, yo, this stuff is crazy. I didn't know this. If I knew this, maybe I would have tried harder when I was younger. Because like, yo, all these people went through stuff.
Yes.
And you know, why am I just like half-assing things? Okay. So, and then I kind of just stopped because I went into World Ventures at 20 years old. And I was like, maybe the best way to help not just myself, but others is through entrepreneurship. And like, I realized maybe getting your business right is probably the best thing for me to do. Now I'm 28 and I'm incorporating both things because I still read a lot.
Okay.
My closing question is this: what's like one or maybe 2 or 3 books that you recommend to the public out here that are all listening, but mainly to the youth?
Yeah.
And like, tell them why it's important to read these books.
Well, any book that gives you knowledge and wisdom is a good book to read, because again, the books also help your vocabulary. We use small term words, big time words, but knowing the words and what you read helps you. And be honest with you, as he said earlier, I'm not a big reader, but I read because I know I have to, and it helps me speak or have a dialogue with other people. So I could go in any room and talk about any subject because I do a lot of reading on certain aspects. Now, Think and Grow Rich, like I said, was the first book that I read fully. I read other books, but never read one fully. I also read the Malcolm X book. I read this young lady named, I'm going to say her name wrong right now, but Ivana Benzon. She has this book called Acts of Faith. It was a daily medication it was actually African American. And that changed the way I looked at things, because the affirmations that they had in there, plus the little notes that they had, helped me look in things a lot differently than I normally would look at it. Some of the Bible I read Matthew, and I always felt like I was like Matthew. People, and everybody has their own things and stuff, but so I read that, and then I read a lot of like athletes books. I have Joe Montana, I have Ronnie Lott, I have what's his name? I'm trying to think of all that books I have so many books. Is good, and also the 5 languages of love.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, and just like the yellow, the blue for your personality your characters, that helps you understand how you deal with other people. Everybody has their own language.
I love languages.
Yeah, and it's not just it's a love language, but it's more than just a love language. It's basically your house, your way of life. They use the language of love, but it shows you how to communicate and how to react with people, because we all not the same in certain aspects. We all built like body, facial, eyes, nose, and all that stuff, but inside we're all different. We hurt differently, we feel differently, we read, like you said, certain reading. So it's always good to read, always get the information you understand. And there's another book that trying to think of it, is there's the 5 people you meet.
The 5 People You Meet in Heaven?
Yes.
I love that book. Dude, I love that book. I actually recommend that book a lot to people.
That's
Mitch
another
Albom,
good one.
Albom, something like that.
Yeah, so those are the books that I have read that I really enjoy. And the last one, definitely, 5 People You Meet in Heaven, you'd be surprised. And so it helps you, if you don't, I know most people, when you hear them talk or when they're not talking or conversing, they stay with the same words, consistency. And you don't, I'm not a person to judge, but sometimes I look and like, wow, okay. So I try to keep myself where I'm not using the same simple words all the time. And it helps you when you're reading, because not only, I think reading gives you confidence as well. Yeah. Because you're reading and you feel empowered by the book, because a lot of times these books do give you power. So that's one of the things that I would give for that.
Thank you, man. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's the biggest thing I got. Well, This is Jersey Talks. I'm your host, Adrian Medina.
Jersey Talk.
This is Willie Peterkin. Please go onto the Cash App and donate what you can. It's going to go a long, long way. So thank you for coming, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was
I
a pleasure.
appreciate it. And if he don't mind, what happens is when a lot of things come in, and I don't know if he'll be able to do a show that for my next court that you'll get to see what we do. I have him come out and he'll be able to either take pictures or do a little interview there so he can see what you can see what we actually do. Because I'm not one of the people that I know we're going, but I'm about action. I don't just talk about what I'm going to do. I do it. So I like other people to see what you do, because sometimes people talk, and it really doesn't happen. Like we mentioned about this, actually. He's like, oh, I've been wanting to do this. Let's do it. You know, we got together. Here we are, and now it's happening. So thank you again. I appreciate it. Always.
Thank you, man. What's the date?
For what?
For what you're doing?
I believe it's the 23rd for McDonald's, and the 25th is for Suits for Success. So I collect suits. We take it to the college. We give it to the young kids that never wore suits or don't know how to wear suits. And we also do a video. We show them how to tie a tie. Not a lot of young kids, adults know how to tie a tie. Some adults don't even know how to tie a tie. So we do that. If you go on my website, you'll actually see me showing a young man how to tie a tie. He learned that day. That. And now everywhere you see him, he's wearing a tie.
I love that, man.
Yes.
All the Willie links are going to be on the bio in the description and under this. So thank you all. Have a great day.
Blessings.
Come here. Yeah, come.